All right, everybody. If you are live, say it loud and proud. Tally happy Cinco de Mayo and Taco Tuesday. Yes, it is. It is Cinco de Mayo. Just Lisa Marie. Hello, Nyborg 007. Guys, if you're over there on Periscope and YouTube, shoot me a comment. That's the only way that I know that you guys are there. That is the way Restream is set up. Christina, how is Venice today? You don't know anything about Cinco de Mayo, Christina. That is some good holiday that you're missing over there in Venice, Italy. But you certainly have all the wonderful, beautiful holidays and culture and food there as well. Bressy Charlie, good to see you today. Jaron Allen, right on. Yes. Awesome. Guys, if you are over in Periscope and YouTube, you can shoot me a message. Let me know that you guys are there. That keeps me posted. All right. I hope everyone's doing well. Lots to talk about today. You know, how long have we been doing this together, guys? A few months now, and every morning I still get this buzz of what am I going to talk about today? And but I think that's that anticipation. My dad, you know, when I was a music, when I'm still a musician, but back in my day when I was playing a lot, when I was a kid, I used to get so nervous to go on stage and play, and it would upset me to such a degree, because here I was as a child preparing for this moment my whole entire life. It was like every day playing in front of the mirror, tunes blasting, whether it be a tennis racket or whether it be with my guitar. As a child, you're every day is you are looking forward to that moment, you know? And then when that moment finally gets there, you're so, like, for me, my leg would be shaking so much that it would be difficult to even stand for the performance. And then, of course, afterwards, I'd be so upset with myself because I played terribly. And I would beat myself up. I would say to myself, well, you know, this is the moment you've been waiting for and you failed. And then I would feel awful. And there's this old performance mantra that you're only as good as your last show. So imagine that. This is the thing that you love most in life. You've been preparing every day since you can remember. Because I don't remember when I didn't have a guitar in my room, to be honest. And now here's that moment. And what happened? You failed. Yeah, it was brutal. And then I would beat myself up, book another show, prepare mercilessly, only to be nervous again. And I had asked my dad, I said, Dad, it's been several gigs in a row. I thought the first show jitters were just that first show. How come I'm still nervous? And he said, it's when you're not nervous that you have something to be worried about. And of course, I couldn't understand that. I was upset. I was looking for some words of wisdom. As I've gotten older, I learned that those butterflies, they don't go away. That's to let you know that you're alive. That is to let you know that you're walking into the unknown, which is a very beautiful thing. It's where life is. It's where we're making headway. It's where we're learning. It's where we're feeling the most. Where we're the most alive. Those are the things that we're going to look back upon life and miss. Well, we got Blockhead. And he said, immigrated to Texas from Asia recently. The Waspinator. I hear you. Oh, do you mean you got stung? Man, I'm sorry to hear that. It must be awful. Well, yeah, we're dealing with murder hornets as we discussed yesterday. So, guys, also, here's something I wanted you guys to know. You know, this. So, between all the channels, you guys at Instagram land, you guys in Periscope land, you guys in YouTube, you know, over the 24 hours, 48 hours, there is a a few hundred of us who are participating in this talk every day and then going out into the world to be our better selves and give value to humanity. And we're small but mighty. That's what I like to say. We're small but mighty. And I was laughing because today, I mean, my hair is just getting more and more ridiculous. So I was going to make a pact with you guys that none of you guys are able to get a haircut until I get a haircut. I think that's only fair. We're in this together. I'm quite small, but quite mighty. Yes, you are tattoos, my Jenna. I appreciate that. And yes, you are. Did he file a report, Jennifer? I don't know. Favorite blockhead, did you file a report? All right. So, guys, there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today. You know, number one, if you haven't checked out the new episode that the Art of Charm podcast released yesterday, it was with Dr. Dominic Sportelli. He is a psychiatrist and he's working in one of the hard hit New York hospitals. And he had a lot of amazing things. To speak about in dealing with the pandemic over there. And one of the aspects that he had brought up, which is something that we've been talking about on our little morning chats, which is what is the psychological effect to all this, you know, especially with the first responders who are not being able to sleep. They got to care for these people all night. They're seeing the misery. You know, they were in the fog of war. You know, this is something that Scott Adams was referring to, but it is this idea that, well, when the war starts, right, the offensive begins and you're trying to gain semblance of what is going on. You know, now we're 2 months into this in the U.S. Everything is calmed down. We know what to expect. More and more data is coming in. We know certain aspects of the population are being affected more so than others. And there's also a lot of information that we don't have. But as things settle down, we're able to start to look around at some of the fallout of what has happened and where we stand and where we need to go from here. And I've been mentioning that on this show that the lockdown itself was a bit of a forced psychological experiment that none of us really anticipated or signed up for, but yet we have to deal with it anyway. And to listen to Dr. Dom's perspective of it and being a psychologist, a pediatric psychologist as well, dealing with the families, the children, and also he's also kind of the glue in the hospital as well for the first responders, for the hospital attendees who are working all night, who are taking care of everybody to make sure that their mental health is in check so they can move through this, because we're not out of this by a long shot, guys. However, I am happy that Governor Newsom is allowing a lot of folks to open up their mom and pop retail stores and get to work. That is one step in many that we have to get to, because that step and being able to serve fellow man and be part of the community is, and especially if you own that store, you've put it together and your livelihood is at stake in that, everything about that community is important to you. Serving it, being a part of it, being open. I can tell you when this started to come down, AJ and I got an email from our media company who produces the podcast. And they mentioned that you have a duty to your audience to continue broadcasting because it is going to give them a sense of normalcy that they're going to need in their lives while we transition into this lockdown and all that kind of stuff. And they were absolutely right. All of us have these different ways through our lives that we connect, that we communicate with each other. No matter how introverted some of us might think we are, you have daily aspects of your life where you are communicating. It may be asynchronous. It may be through Twitter. It may be through Instagram. It may be through any of these other social media. However, that is still connecting. That is still talking to other people. And we have to understand all the different aspects to communication. There is the connection, the community, but there is the value that you're giving out. Like bats, and yes, pun intended for what the situation that's going on. Like bats use sonar in order to fly through the night in order to find their meal. They don't run into anything, and they can find their cave. Our communication in the same manner is used like sonar as we bounce off different people, our self-expression, in order to find our way into community, in order to find our way into acceptance. And that's for all of us. And we need that. And so, Dr. Dom's episode was certainly helpful for myself in order to see just how important those small aspects of life really are to the human experience. So I'm happy that we have taken one small step in many for a lot of different states. And for the rest of you states that are still on lockdown, I hope you get to the point too. So where those mom and pop stores can open up and they can get in their store, they can feel a sense of community and contributing and get their sense of worth back as well, because that's extremely important for a lot of you. I'm sure sitting at home all day after you've been through your everything you wanted to see on Netflix, this gets boring. This is why I started this. I knew it was going to get boring. I wanted to hang out with you all. So that's extremely important. Now, here's an interesting aspect to this that somebody brought up. And there are a lot of people who are obviously and rightly so concerned that this could make things worse or reinvigorate the virus and the transmissions itself, and we could find ourselves in another lockdown with even more folks who are in bad shape. And that is absolutely true. And we need to be careful of that. We need to participate with the social distancing and the wearing the masks and the respect for each other. Now, the question was, do you think everyone is going to cooperate with those rules? Well, no. I know that. You know that. That's just humanity. Do I drive on the highway thinking that everybody who is in a car is going to obey the rules? No. I take my chances as a driver to go on that highway. I know there's a segment of the population who have no respect for themselves and the other vehicles on the street, who may be impaired in many or more ways than one. But as human beings, we take that risk. That is the risk that we take in society as a whole. So no, I don't think everyone is going to follow the rules. In fact, I'm well aware that, my dad always told me that it's not your driving that you have to be aware of, it's the other guy. And that same rule comes into apply here. In order for you and your family and your livelihood to be safe. And I'd already take those precautions in my normal life. For instance, I don't like busy or extremely packed restaurants, bars, nightclubs. In fact, that's kind of thing deters me from those places. I don't enjoy that. I don't be, when I was younger, I did, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, you got to be kidding me if you think I'm going to eat in that place. Look how many people are in there. So why wouldn't I do that now? You should always be aware of your surroundings and what you're putting yourself into, and whether or not that is appropriate. There are going to be morons out there. And this brings me to the point where, so I was telling them, I'm like, yeah, of course there's going to be people who are not going to be so respectful of these rules. Sure, there's going to be people who are going to be reckless. That's just a population in general who acts in that manner. But if you've ever thought that way and you came to the conclusion that of course I have as well, which is, well, if everyone just was like me, then the world would be a much better place. Now, I think all of us have said that to ourselves at one time or another. That is the most asinine, selfish bullshit thing that you could possibly say. Now, as a human being, I've come to that conclusion before. And I can tell you, when I take a step back from that answer, I realize that is the most incredibly horrible fate that this earth could possibly have to deal with. There's no way would this be a better place if everyone was like me. In fact, those of you who have paid attention to The Art of Charm for as long as you have, you know that my business partner, co-host AJ, has to deal with me on a daily basis. You guys only have to deal with me for a half an hour. He's got to deal with me. We've been working together for 14 years. He has to deal with my insanity. And he'll be the first to tell you that would be a bad idea. And I could say the same for him, and even Animal. Animal would not want this place to be full of animals. So, Pressy Charlie, yes, it is terrible. He's got to deal with it. And here's the thing, guys. It takes all kinds. In order for us to have built this society and this world, we needed all types of rebels and cowboys and geniuses and weirdos who've built things, who've made things, who have expressed themselves in every which way in order for us to have everything that we have now. I mean, look how I'm communicating to you guys. None of that could have been done without the wide array of intellect and creativity and genius of the human species. If everyone was just like me, whoa, we would have some problems. I think we'd have some good tunes though. Jennifer, extra animal, please. Yeah, he's hanging in there. But he's come to that conclusion as well. But anytime you've ever come to that conclusion, well, if everyone was just like me, we wouldn't have these issues. Well, I'm here to tell you that is the most asinine, selfish thing that you could ever say. And listen, we've all said it. You know, we've all landed on that conclusion at one time or another. However, I will say this. We do owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to our community, and we owe it to everyone around us to be the best that we can be and to strive to be the best that we can be. If a majority of society adhered to that idea, then I definitely I could see us being farther along. Unfortunately, once again, with the human species, we're not going to have everyone who's motivated in the same ways for the same things. I mean, that's why we squabble and argue all the time. And there is an amazing argument that the United States is made up of the most rebellious, the most adventurous, the most argumentative, and the most ornery of human beings. And guess what? The farther west you go, the worse it got, because those people were just too sick of everyone on the East Coast, and they had to keep venturing out west. So by the time you get to California, you have the most wild, the most crazy, the most argumentative, the most stubborn. Presley Charlie, I do not agree with that. You'll have to give me your reason if you were referring to my last point. I guess in a long-winded way, I'm saying that it takes all kinds. And one of the most amazing things that you can do for yourself is, while you are going about your day, and I hope for a lot of you, you're getting back some semblance of life. Even a small amount is better than what had been taken away with us in the pandemic of lockdown. The rest, Tallies, are headed to West Virginia. I'm from Pittsburgh, so I've spent some time in West Virginia. One of the best things that you can do for yourself is to go on a mission for like a week or two and spend your time listening. Spend your time listening. Oh, Christina says, well, I work in a hospital and Americans are far more the best guests to deal with. You guys are great fun. Well, thank you, Christina, all the way from Venice, Italy. I really appreciate that. I have not been to Italy yet, of all the places I've been to Europe. So let's hope that when this is all over, I could come out there and we'll have a beer. That's right. We'll have a beer. So with that, spend some time listening, spend some time observing. So one of the things about being a high value person is the value that you give to others. And when we go into this discussion about being a high value person, the first thing that a lot of people get worried about is, well, I don't want to be a giver. I don't want to get taken advantage of. I've been taken advantage of too much. First of all, I've had that talk, and you have to have your definition of what being a giver is and what value you can and what value small things such as listening and observing actually give to those around you, which don't take much. It takes you being present. It takes you giving your attention to somebody. It gives you giving approval and acceptance to people. You would be quite amazed at what you will learn and the perspectives that you can gain from giving people attention, approval, and acceptance. You're not giving them money. You're not enabling them. You're not putting yourself at risk giving those three things: attention, approval, and acceptance. And you give it in a manner in which you are receiving at the same time. What are you receiving at the same time that you should be looking for when you're giving attention, approval, acceptance? You should be looking for the behavior, the emotional response that you get in return when you give attention, approval, and acceptance. That emotional response that you will receive will tell you a great more than anything that those people can tell you through their language, through their words. That emotional response will allow you to know what kind of person they are, whether they're cooperative, supplicative, combative, or competitive. Those four archetypes will be shown through the emotional response that you will receive when you give attention, approval, and acceptance. So here's your mission. For the next week, give attention, approval, and acceptance. That's all you got to do. Just watch, just observe. See what people do with the value that you give them. You will be quite amazed at what you will learn from those people. And so I want you to have some fun with that. And then we can have a discussion on that. And if you want more amazing tricks and tips and ways to connect and build relationships that you haven't experienced yet, check out the Art of Charm Communication Accelerator. It is the best bits from all of our online classes, live training programs, and all the experts that we have interviewed on the Art of Charm podcast for the last 15 years. Check that thing out. It is packed. And if you get it, let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. So I'm going to go through these guys. I want to thank my Periscope people. There's Jen today. There's probably a few others. Yes, hearts for me and Animal. Hearts for you guys. Let's go through this. And Tali, happy Cinco de Mayo to you, and happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. You guys are rad. Nyborg 007, well, thank you for making it. Jared Allen, thank you, buddy. Yes, hearts for you, Animal. Rusty Charlie, today, 5 of my Liberation Day in Europe. Did not know that. You too, Jennifer. I'll see you on Twitter. All right. Slightly, Christina. Fair enough. I'll wait until you cut your hair. Well, thank you, Blockhead. But if I think correctly, you don't have any hair. Tattoos by Jenna. Super long hair. I'm thinking of cutting mine last night. You're not doing that. Not till I get mine cut. Yeah, guys. We cannot do that. We're low on soldiers today, comrade. Hey, no worries. We just sent an email. Oh, and here's another one for you. We're going to try to get some help for this. Since you guys are enjoying the show, I'm going to try to get you some clips that you might be able to share with some friends. But I want those clips to look good. So we're looking at some people to give us a hand over here. Perhaps we can grow the show some. I can relate. Well, thank you for tuning in, Zachary. It's good to see you, buddy. Tully, great. Thank you very much, Christina. Have a great day. Woody Belford, it's good to see you. All right, guys. Oh, Tommaso, it's good to see you, my friend. We got to talk. All right. Woo, what a day. All right, guys. I will catch you all tomorrow, 8:30. Say bye, Animal. See you guys.